Hey folks, welcome to DocTalk. We're going to have a great show. Dr. Grant Crawford, who's a nutritionist, is going to be here to talk about preparing cows for the winter. We're going to talk about things from body condition scores to deworming to protein supplementation and much more. Stay tuned and enjoy the show.
As dependable as the sunrise, in dairy parlors, open pastures, on ranches and feed yards across America, a place where reputation is more than a name, where the science of healthier animals is a way of life. It's the responsibility that drives who we are and what we do. Every decision, every day. It's your livelihood and our responsibility.
Earlier in my life, I rode bucking horses and rodeos, and my shoulders took such a beating, and that was probably the reason for having several previous surgeries on both shoulders. About a year ago, I decided that I didn't want to have another surgery, and so I contacted Kansas Regenerative Medicine, took their treatment process. It was relatively pain-free. Now, after 8 months, my shoulders have healed to the point where I think I'm probably 90 to 95% of normal. It takes a couple of months to start to see results and feel real progress. That continued to increase gradually until now at approximately 8 months. And I'm extremely pleased. I've got full range of motion. I can lift weights, I can throw, I can do a lot of things that I couldn't do without a lot of pain previously. So I'm tickled to death with the results, and I'd recommend this process to anyone.
This segment is brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
Hey folks, welcome to DocTalk. We have Dr. Grant Crawford here with us. He's a PhD nutritionist. He works for Merck Animal Health, and he has, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're located, some of your past experiences, Grant, and just kind of kickstart us that way.
Sure. Well, thanks, Dan, for having me back here. I've been with Merck for about 4 years. I'm a tech service nutritionist with our team. I live in southwestern Minnesota and cover primarily the upper Midwest, spending a lot of time in the Dakotas, Iowa, Minnesota, and then the areas around there. Prior to that, I worked for a feed company for a few years, and then I was an extension and research assistant associate professor at the University of Minnesota for 5 years.
Yep. Dr. Crawford comes with a wealth of knowledge, a vast amount of experience, and today we're going to talk about getting those cows ready for winter. And I think that whether you're in the north or in the south, as we go into different grazing patterns and different feedstuffs available, just kind of getting some of the things check marked to make sure we're ready is important.
Yeah, when you think about this time of year, most calves are probably weaned by this point, so the requirements for cows are pretty low right now. It's their lowest requirement, nutrient requirement time. But that doesn't mean we should forget about cows, because it's a time when we can add some condition back to those cows, particularly if we had any overstocking in the summer or poor pasture conditions. Those cows may be out of condition. So it's an opportunity to easily add condition to those cows, get them prepared for calving in the spring, and then of course breeding next summer.
Yeah, and obviously if we have decreased body condition score, that just relates to decreased potential conception rates.
That's right. Yeah, when we think about body condition score, the old standard is the 1 through 9 scale. where basically 1 through 4 are cows that are too skinny, and in particular, if they're 1 and 2, they're probably cows that need to be culled anyway.
Right.
3 and 4 are probably cows that we could still salvage. If we can get them up to a 5, 6, or 7, it drastically increases calving and health of those calves after birth, and probably most importantly, increases the chance of getting that cow bred first service or second service next summer. If we get up to cows that are in a body condition score of 8 or 9, those are cows that are too fat. They're going to have trouble conceiving. They may have some calving difficulties, and most likely those cows are putting more of the nutrients toward themselves rather than toward either the calf they're gestating or the calf that they're nursing.
Yeah, and I you know, tend to forget about getting cows too fat. But we can have some of that with cows coming off some of these pastures, and when we had really good rain all summer, we have some cows that look pretty good out west of here that haven't looked this good for a long time.
Yeah, and it's something that you know, we never want cows to look skinny, and that's understandable. But in a lot of cases, I think we get carried away in what we do to cows, especially in the winter. You know, we're always feeding assuming we're going to have a cold winter, and we want those cows to be in good shape in the spring, but we definitely can overdo it, and we don't want to waste those resources on those cows if we don't have to.
You bet. Folks, Dr. Grant Crawford is a nutritionist for Merck Animal Health. We'll take a break here, and we'll come back with Dr. Crawford right after these messages. Hey folks, welcome to our Cattle First Minute, which is sponsored by Boehringer Ingelheim Vet Medica. Preconditioning season is coming up, and it is vitally important as we think about animal welfare, antimicrobial stewardship, sustainability, and all the different topics that are ancillary to our industry besides just making money that we need to pay attention to. And I don't know of any tool that we have that is better in these types of systems and preventing antimicrobial use than preconditioning calves. Proper vaccination, make sure you work with your veterinarian, getting those calves bunk broke, making sure that they know what a water tank is, castrating, dehorning, deworming. All of these things need to be done that make a healthier calf, that make a calf that's a lot less stressed when it goes to the feedlot, and hopefully it'll bring a calf that is much more valuable to you and your farm.
Hi, I'm Kim Mandring with Hardy Insurance. I'm here to help you with all of your farm and ranch needs. When it comes to protecting your operation and your family, you need a name you can trust at a price you can afford. Call me today or visit hardyaviationins.com.
Kansans have a new choice for Medicare supplement insurance plans. With Medicare supplement insurance plans from Kansas Farm Bureau, you have access to 4 levels of coverage, affordable rates, and service from an organization that's served Kansans for more than 100 years. For more information on Kansas Farm Bureau Medicare supplement plans, including rates and to apply, visit kfbhealthplans.com.
Practical, profitable genetics. It's not just a slogan, but our expectation for every Dale Banks bull we market. They won't be a one-trait wonder, but they will offer optimum levels of the most predictable genetics in the industry today. They'll be developed on forage, backed by decades of data, fertility tested, foot scored, and freeze branded. We'll sell 150 yearling and coming 2-year-old bulls in our Practical, Profitable Genetics bull sale on Saturday, November 23rd at the ranch near Eureka, Kansas. For information, call the Perriers at 620-583-4305 or dalebanks.com.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
ValleyVet.com, ValleyVet.com, Valley Vet Supply.
This segment is brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. I'm here with Dr. Grant Crawford. We're here at Kansas State University, and Dr. Crawford is a nutritionist for Merck Animal Health. He has vast experience of working with cow herds, feedlots, from Minnesota, South Dakota, pretty much the whole upper Midwest, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so a lot of our issues, a lot of our feedstuffs are the same. And as we're heading into winter or coming into spring, you know, what about deworming platforms and what we can do at this time of the year?
Right. Right now, with cows being off of pasture, is a great time to deworm if they haven't been dewormed already. Typically, cows will be dewormed either at turnout or midsummer, sometimes both. But even if they are dewormed midsummer, they've probably picked up some worms on pasture through July and August and September. Now, if cows are still out on pasture now, those pastures most likely are dormant, so they're not going to pick up worms anymore. Or if they're on corn stalks or in a dry lot, they're not going to pick up worms through the winter. So we want to make sure we deworm those cows now so that they're cleaned up before they get into that third trimester. Third trimester is the most important trimester for cows in terms of the nutrients that they need. That's when 75% of calf growth occurs. So we want to make sure that parasites are not robbing nutrients from those cows. So we want them to be clean from parasites so that they can put those nutrients toward the calf that they're gestating.
So, you know, if we're going to preg, it'd be a great time to catch them and deworm them. There's also ways to deworm without catching them, correct?
Right. Yeah, if cows have already been preg checked and they weren't dewormed at that time, then we missed that opportunity to drench those cows and clean them up at that point. But there's still feed grade options. You could put a feed grade option right in the TMR if you're bunk feeding those cattle. So that'd be another good way to clean those cows up.
So options for y'all when you're pregging your cows. You can work with your veterinarian and use a dewormer while the cows are in the chute, or if you've already pregged and you're thinking, shoot, I got to get in there, there are options with fenbendazole and Safeguard and different products like that can go straight into your TMR or into your supplement that can help clean those cows up as well as we're overwintering them. Right. Any big concerns with parasites or parasite control at this time of the year with cows?
Well, especially if cows were not dewormed in the summertime. If they were just dewormed at spring turnout, they've been picking up worms all summer. So they definitely should be dewormed now because, like I said, they're going to want to direct all the nutrients they take in over winter to the calf that they're gestating going into calving, and it also will help cows improve body condition score leading up to calving and breeding after that. So it's very important to have those cows dewormed.
Can they take a fecal sample?
Yes.
And give that to the veterinarian, and then if they have the need, come back with that strategic deworming out in the field?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a good way to do it because even if we dewormed, it's good to determine if that dewormer was working. So a simple fecal sample, just random samples off of the pasture, dry lot, can determine if those cows need to be dewormed.
Perfect. Folks, great information. We're getting those cows ready for winter. More with Dr. Crawford when we come back after these messages.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Practical, profitable genetics. It's not just a slogan, but our expectation for every Dale Banks bull we market. They won't be a one-trait wonder, but they will offer optimum levels of the most predictable genetics in the industry today. They'll be developed on forage, backed by decades of data, fertility tested, foot scored, and freeze branded. We'll sell 150 yearling and coming 2-year-old bulls in our Practical, Profitable Genetics bull sale on Saturday, November 23rd at the ranch near Eureka, Kansas. For information, call the Perriers at 620-583-4305 or dalebanks.com.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, cleaner American fuel. Message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
KFRM is one of the largest farm radio stations in the nation, dedicated to informing and entertaining rural listeners from northern Oklahoma to southwestern Nebraska. You can catch KFRM in many ways. Of course, 550 on the AM dial, streaming at kfrm.com, or on your smartphone by going to the TuneIn Radio app, or on Ag AM in Kansas on Tuesdays and Facebook every day of the week. KFRM, tune us in. You'll be glad you did.
This segment is brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. Dr. Dan Thompson here at Kansas State University with Dr. Grant Crawford. And Dr. Crawford is a nutritionist. He works at Merck Animal Health. He sees cows all around the upper Midwest and is working with different platforms on nutrition, on deworming, on management strategies, and we're just lucky to get you here to be on the show. He's somebody that I use as a resource and someone that is very, very knowledgeable. As you know, we have a lot of things to think about with nutrition in cows, but if we've got our body conditions score and we've got them dewormed, now we're heading into maybe some of these forages that are lacking in protein. And so what are some of the recommendations that you make when it comes to protein in cows?
Well, typically when we think of dormant forages this time of year, if cows are still out on pasture or if they're on corn stalks, they're oftentimes going to be deficient in protein. You know, you think of cows out on corn stalks, they're probably only getting 4 or 5, maybe 6% protein at best if they're not supplemented. And even dormant forages oftentimes are about that 4, 5, 6% protein. Cows right now, mid-gestation cows, are probably requiring about 8% protein, which is roughly 2 pounds of protein per day. So they're going to need some protein supplementation. And what that will do is it will help increase digestibility of the forages they're consuming, so more of those nutrients are able to be used for growth and reproduction and maintaining or increasing body condition score throughout the winter.
So when we supplement these cows and we supplement protein, there's a couple of questions. What are some of the, first one is, what are some of the sources that people are using?
Right. The distillers grains byproducts or ethanol byproducts such as distillers grains is one of the most common ones. Distillers grains contains roughly 30% crude protein, so you really don't need a whole lot. 2 pounds roughly of distillers grains will fill that gap to meet protein requirements for cows. So that's one good source. Day? Correct.
So what about, so I saw some of these alternate day or you know, not supplementing every day. Can we do that and get along okay?
Yeah, that's a great question. And one of the unique parts about cattle, because they're ruminants, they can recycle protein or recycle nitrogen. So we can supplement every other day or every third day. We just need to make sure we supplement that much more. So if we're supplementing every other day, we need to supplement twice as much as if we were supplementing every day.
So if we were going to do 2 pounds once a day, we'd go to 4 pounds every other day.
That's right.
But when you look at the labor and you look at the time and the diesel and different things like that, it can make it pay, put money in the bank. Talk a little bit about how protein helps the forage be digested.
Yeah, well, getting into the ruminant nutrition side of things, protein, particularly degradable protein, is needed by rumen microbes, and specifically the amino acids and nitrogen of that protein is needed by rumen microbes to help digest feed. So you can consider nitrogen to essentially be the fuel needed by those microbes to digest feed and then also reproduce. So those microbes themselves contain about 80% protein. So as they're flushed out of the rumen to the lower gut, that protein is absorbed and can be a protein source for cattle.
Cool. Well, it's just amazing to me how we feed the bugs that feed the cattle. So much to learn about ruminant nutrition, and we got one of the best right here in Grant Crawford. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap up on getting those cows ready for winter.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well in their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we'll be glad to answer it and work with you.
Kansas Farm Bureau has served farm families and rural Kansas for more than 100 years, and we're pleased to offer new healthcare coverage choices for Kansans in 2020 through Kansas Farm Bureau health plans. No matter what stage of life you're in, we'll have options that fit your lifestyle. Plus, our network of providers is one of the largest available throughout the state of Kansas and beyond. For more information, including the different plans available, or to get a quote, visit kfbhealthplans.com.
Kim Mannering with Hardy Insurance. Today we will talk about employee safety and work comp coverage. On your farm, do you ask your friends to come help? Are they considered employees or neighbors helping neighbors? Did you know that you can be held responsible just as if it's a work comp accident? Give me a call, we can discuss. 316-945-6733.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
ValleyVet.com, ValleyVet.com, Valley Vet Supply.
This segment is brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. I'm here with Dr. Grant Crawford. He works for Merck Animal Health. He's a nutritionist that sees cows around the upper Midwest. He's been on faculty at the University of Minnesota. He's been with a feed company. Someone who has been there, done it, and is out there in the field doing it today. So we're glad to have you on the show.
Thank you, Dan. I'm very glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's awesome. So, you know, we've talked about internal parasites. We talked about body condition score, protein, but the last few years, we've had some rough winters, and with those rough winters has brought some issues with lice.
Yeah, and I live in Minnesota, Dan, so we may not see the sun for a few months, and lice has been a big deal. And I completely agree. The last few years have been the worst years I've seen for lice, and it's affected all types of cattle, feedlot cattle, cows, calves, whatever it may be.
Yeah, and I think we forget that winter is the worst time for lice, or the best time for lice problems, the worst time for cows with lice problems. But, you know, prevention, treatment, what are we thinking? What are we doing?
Yeah, unfortunately there's been a lot of resistance built up to these products over the years. So the best thing we can do is just be very diligent on treatment, and remember that season-long control is really difficult, and we need to make sure we dose these products properly, be aware of what the cow weights are and calf weights are, bull weights are, whatever we're treating, dose them properly, and then remember that the worst time for lice problems are the shortest days of the year and the coldest days of the year. So January, February, those are rough months. If we're preg checking right now or providing a lice control product, it may not last us till January and February. So there may be a need to redose those cattle later, sometime around Christmas or the first of the year.
Yeah, and I keep reminding people that injectable products don't get the biting lice, they get the sucking lice, and application from pole to tail head is vitally important.
Yeah, that's right. And application, and like I said, dosing on proper weight. We often underestimate how much cows weigh.
Right.
And that's critically important for getting these products to work the way we want them to.
Well, I think that it just is important for anybody. If you're moving cows from pasture to pasture, it doesn't take anything to stop and go over a set of scales and count how many cows you have on there, just to get a rough ballpark idea before you go kick them into a new pasture on what they weigh. Whether it's nutrition or whether it's dosing of an insecticide, it's just another way to fine-tune, and not only will you save money, but you'll make money because you get the proper dose in those animals.
Yeah, and cows have grown significantly over the years, but unfortunately our estimates of their weight have not, and scales are very much underutilized, particularly on cow-calf operations, but I think they would pay for themselves really quickly when you consider these products that are dosed on a weight basis.
Perfect. Thanks for being here today. Thank you for watching Dr. Crawford and myself here on DocTalk. Remember, always work with your local veterinarian and nutritionist. And if you want to know more about what we do at DocTalk, you can find us on the web at www.doctalktv.com. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson here at Kansas State University with Dr. Grant Crawford, and we'll see you down the road.
Closed captioning brought to you by Vet Gun with Amel and new AMA Abamectin Vet Caps, the 1-2 punch against hornfly resistance, from AgriLabs.
For more information about this program or previous programs, go to DocTalkTV.com.
DocTalk was brought to you by Merck Animal Health, the science of healthier animals.
Practical, profitable genetics. It's not just a slogan, but our expectation for every Dale Banks bull we market. They won't be a one-trait wonder, but they will offer optimum levels of the most predictable genetics in the industry today. They'll be developed on forage, backed by decades of data, fertility tested, foot scored, and freeze branded. We'll sell 150 yearling and coming 2-year-old bulls in our Practical, Profitable Genetics bull sale on Saturday, November 23rd at the ranch near Eureka, Kansas. For information, call the Perriers at 620-583-4305 or dalebanks.com.
Welcome to the Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center, right here in my hometown of Oakley, Kansas. We're the front door of Western Kansas, located on 3 main highways, I-70, US 83, and US 40. And all those roads lead to history, beautiful scenery, and adventure, no matter which direction you go. We now have an IHOP. That brand that you've trusted up and down the road in all your travels is staffed with local folks, real people, just like you and me, and we're waiting on you to join us. So for fun, adventure, fuel up, fuel your body, and let's have some fun.
Kansas Farm Bureau has served farm families in rural Kansas for more than 100 years. We're pleased to offer new health care coverage choices for Kansans in 2020 through Kansas Farm Bureau health plans. No matter what stage of life you're in, we'll have options that fit your lifestyle. Plus, our network of providers is one of the largest available throughout the state of Kansas and beyond. For more information, including the different plans available, or to get a quote, visit kfbhealthplans.com.